Ladies, welcome to tonight's team chat. My name is Lisa, and what we're going to be talking about tonight are recruiting objections. As a matter of fact, I'm going to talk about two different things. I'm going to be talking about recognizing recruiting objections, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about overcoming recruiting objections. And then at the very end, I'm going to issue a challenge, so make sure that you stay tuned right to the very end so that you can get in on that. Now, as we get started, what I would love for each of you guys to do is we're going to do a little bit of visualization. What I would like is for you guys in your mind's eye to visualize yourself talking to a recruit lead. Now, this might be your hostess, it might be one of your guests. And I want you to understand that as you're talking to your recruit lead, whether you recognize it or not, a sale is taking place. And what that means is that you're either selling her on the fact that we have a really great opportunity that's a good fit for her, or she might be selling you on the fact that this opportunity is certainly not going to fit into her life. Now, I want you to know that if she's selling you on the fact that this opportunity is not going to fit into her life, what she's really doing is expressing an objection. It may sound an awful lot like a no. You might think, oh God, this is my chance to back off. No, all she's really doing is she's putting out an objection. And I want you guys to understand and recognize what objections look like. Sometimes they look like the word no. Now, objections come from one of two places. They either come from a place of doubt or they're coming from a place of fear. Now, let me give you a couple of examples of what each of these look like. An objection that's coming from a place of doubt might be something like, you know what, I don't think that my friends will come through and book for me. I don't think that I can get started with this. Or someone might be saying, and we hear this all the time, they might be saying, oh, I don't have enough time for this. This sounds like a really good deal, but I certainly could not fit this into my schedule. Those are objections that are coming from a place of doubt. Now let's talk a little bit about objections that are coming from a place of fear. These are a little bit different. These objections are things like, you know what, I don't think I could stand up in front of people. I'm very shy. I just don't think that's something that I can do. Or another objection, which I've heard before, is, oh, I could never go into a stranger's house. I'm just not comfortable with that. So these are what each of these different objections look like. Now, what I'm going to do is share with you an extremely easy way to overcome each of these objections. And you guys don't have to memorize because it's very easy and you can use it for every objection. What we're going to do when we deal with objections of doubt is we're going to say to that prospect, if I can help you to overcome that particular obstacle, are you still interested? Let me say that again. If I can help you to overcome that particular obstacle, are you still interested? So let's go back to those first two objections that we had, and let's see what that sounds like. Okay? So the first objection, where she says, I don't think that I can get enough bookings. What you might say to her is, if I can show you how to get bookings from your friends and family enough to get you started, are you still interested? Now, what about that other objection, the one that we hear all the time? I just don't have enough time. I am so busy. There's no way I could fit this in. What you might say to her is, if I can show you how you can fit this into your schedule, are you still interested? Now, here's the cool thing about this. Her response is going to let you know whether or not she truly is interested, how serious she is about this. Now, let's talk a little bit about how to overcome objections of fear. These are a little bit trickier because sometimes objections of fear have been instilled in this person for decades. So what I always say is when someone puts out an objection of fear, I will say, is that something that you want to overcome? So if someone says to me, oh, there's no way I could stand up in front of people, I'm just too shy, I'll say to them, is that something you want to overcome? Now, I want you to understand, don't be surprised by this. Sometimes the answer is no. I've heard no before. And all that really means is that in that moment, the fear is bigger than the why. The fear is bigger than the why. But I want you to understand that that's only in that moment. Sometimes a woman will rise and she'll start thinking about this. And when she starts thinking about this, she'll realize, you know, I think that's silly. Maybe this is something I can overcome. So that's why follow-up is so key. Okay, so now once you have overcome these objections, once someone says to you, you know what, I think maybe I do want to give this a try, then what do? I want you to remember the letters A, B, and C. What that stands for is always be closing. And how do we close on a recruit lead? Well, the way that we close is we schedule a starter show. So what you're going to do at this point is you're just going to throw out there, hey, it's time then, why don't we get your starter show scheduled? Now, her answer is going to let you know where she's at. If she says, yes, let's get that starter show scheduled, I want you to go home and drink a glass of champagne, and I want you to celebrate. But if she throws out a no, it could just be another objection. And that all that means is that you got to go back to the beginning and start the process over. Sometimes you have to do the process 3 or 4 times before you get down to where she's actually, you can close her by scheduling her starter show. Okay? So let's talk a little bit about a challenge. Now, I know over the weekend Leah Fiske posted a challenge. It was called the Double Dog Dare Challenge. You probably saw it on Facebook. And what this challenge essentially said was that she asked us to each add at least 2 more shows to our schedules in June, during fiscal June, and also 1 or more recruits to our schedules in fiscal June. Now, what you guys might not know is that this challenge is not only going on with Team Fiske, it's actually going on across the country. And I've got to tell you guys, I am in awe about how ladies across the country are actually stepping up the plate, or stepping up to the plate to do what needs to be done in Leah Sophia. And I want us to be a part of this. As a matter of fact, I'm taking this challenge very seriously. I've already started working the challenge, and I'm going to throw it out to you with an additional challenge. What I'm going to say to you, and I just want you guys to know, my schedule is already packed for the end of June. But I'm going to go out there and I'm still going to try to book shows. Any of you out there who matches or exceeds the number of shows that I put in on my calendar for June since the challenge began, and anybody out there who matches or exceeds the recruits that I bring in from now until the end of June, since the challenge began, what I'm going to do is we're going to all get together and we're going to go out, we're going to have lunch, and on top of that I'm going to spoil you with a $100 jewelry premium so that you guys will have new jewelry just in time for the new catalog. So what I'm really inviting you girls to do, I want you to kick my ass. I know that there's many of you out there who want to. So please go out there, ladies. Start getting on the phone. When you're at your shows, book tight. I want you to put as many shows on the calendar as possible and use what you've learned tonight to flip those hostesses. Good luck, guys. Do it. Let's go.